Bob, Scoop, and Muck are to carry out repair work at Littletown Tunnel, including relaying brakes on the inside wall. Bobsville's main electricity is being stopped before work in the tunnel can commence, requiring Bob to power temporary lighting using the electric generator. Lofty is sent to Farmer Pickle's farm in order to clear up some logs. Scoop is hitched up to the generator and leaves with Bob and Muck to the tunnel, while Lofty takes a turn to Farmer Pickle's farm. Bob then proceeds to check the work schedule, but starts off saying Muck is to enter the tunnel with the bricks. At first, Muck answers without hesitation and gets to the entrance, but the internal darkness deters her from going in, making her stop immediately. Bob starts up the generator to supply power to temporary lighting in hopes of illuminating the tunnel brightly enough. Meanwhile, Lofty arrives at the farm and is greeted by Travis, who is going to transport the logs to Farmer Pickle's barn. Lofty starts loading the logs into the trailer. In the building yard office, Wendy is happy to have some peace and quiet, but is suddenly alarmed by a loud noise coming from inside Bob's house. Pilchard has turned on the television set and is watching what appears to be a sports broadcast. Wendy turns off the TV set and gets Pilchard going out. Back at Littletown Tunnel, Scoop jokingly teases Muck by singing a derogatory song, but Muck, despite shaking in fear, swiftly charges into the tunnel and makes it on, only to be unsettled where the generator struggles to keep powering the lights for a split second. At the building yard, Pilchard is greeted by Dizzy, who takes her inside her mixer drum to see what Lofty is doing. Muck has only made it to the missing part of the wall, but she attempts to encourage herself not to let the darkness distract from the mission and manages to land the bricks in place. Bob has Scoop to supervise the generator, while he walks in to start laying the bricks. Just as Muck tries to rush back out of the tunnel, the generator malfunctions and shuts off, which causes the lighting system to go out as well. Bob notices this and sees Muck shivering in terror, asking him to turn the lights on. Quickly, Pilchard and Dizzy arrive at the farm while Lofty is still loading logs. Dizzy then shows up from behind Lofty and advertently gives him a fright for a second before he can pay attention to them. Back at the tunnel, Scoop asks Bob if he thinks Muck will be alright, only for Bob to realize that Muck has a fear of darkness. Bob walks back into the tunnel with a torch and tells Muck there is no point staying inside, instructing him to follow Bob's torch. However, the darkness in the tunnel makes Muck paralyzed. This makes Bob believe that Muck is literally stuck inside the tunnel, and he goes to tell Scoop of the situation. Scoop compares this to Lofty's fear of heights, which gives him an idea. At the farm, Lofty had finished loading the last log onto Travis, while Bob and Scoop arrive and take him with them. Scoop also takes Pilchard inside his rear bucket. Muck is still standing inside the tunnel, albeit slightly more relieved, only to see Lofty coming through the other end, which startles him before realizing it is him. Muck tells Lofty she is afraid of the dark, to which Lofty responds by telling her that everyone's afraid of something and to follow him out. Despite Lofty's encouragement, Muck is still unable to move an inch because of her fear. Lofty then goes out to inform Bob that Muck really is too scared to move and is indeed stuck. At the building yard, Wendy goes out looking for Pilchard with a bowl of cat food and asks Rolly if he knows where Pilchard could be, to which he responds by saying that she may have gone to visit Lofty. While Bob, Scoop, and Lofty are discussing ways to get Muck out of the tunnel, Pilchard sneaks into the tunnel without the others knowing. Upon seeing Muck's shadow in the dark, Pilchard snarls in terror, causing Muck to mistake her for a ghost. This manages to make a horrified Muck charge out of the tunnel at full speed, and he ends up shoving Bob while emerging from behind him. That night in the yard, Muck tells Rolly about the supposed ghost in the tunnel, or in other words, Pilchard, describing his interpretation of the events. He denies being scared, but does not hesitate to mention getting out fast and smiles.